Hi everyone, welcome to another culling video. Yes, this is another game that I'm getting rid of from the collection, and this one I'm probably going to give to my family actually, and that is Winner's Circle, the Reiner Knizia racing game. I got this at a discount, I believe, at Essen last year maybe? Probably only, no, obviously not last year, the year before, before the pandemic. From Dice Tree Games, this is a new version that they've done. I've even got code 777 in the other room, but I got this one because I thought, you know what, I like racing games. I wouldn't mind one or more, a few more in my collection. And Reiner Knizia is not the first designer I go to for games, but, the guy's made 100 million games. I thought, let's give it a try. And I liked it, and I still kind of like it, but I still only really rated it a 7. It was essentially a game where you have all the horses and you lay out the different horses and on cards, and they've got stats for when you roll a die, the symbol dictates how many spaces they move. You roll the die, you pick a horse that hasn't been moved in the round, you move it as many spaces as it says, you flip the card over, and then you use all the horses, they flip again, and you just keep going until eventually 3 horses have finished the race. And it's pretty straightforward. You bet on these courses before the round starts. You've got 3 rounds, whoever has the most money wins, very standard horse betting system. And it's got a good production value in it. I mean, the box itself looks cool, but when you open it up, it's got a pretty big, vibrant board. The insert could be slightly better at keeping the cards in one place when you store it bookcase style, but other than that, not too bad. But I mean, they gave you, gives you metal coins, slightly over the top, decent die, and it gives you effectively plastic painted horse miniatures. And it's like, you know what, this is a good production. I hope the game justifies, the fun factor in it. Yes and no. I do have some issues with this. Firstly, this is a complete luck fest. Yeah, you can bet on the horses, and I certainly do recommend you use the hidden variant, the hidden betting variant, so you don't know exactly whether people have put a double bet on a horse or a 0 bet on a horse. But even then, it doesn't take very long in a race for you to figure out who's got a double bet on what or a single bet on another. It's kind of obvious when you see how people start moving horses around. It's like, oh, you could have moved that horse 12, but instead you moved this one 0. And it's like, well, clearly that one with your token on it is a 0 then. It's like, it really isn't much of a, shock factor. But on top of that, the whole race is determined by roll the die. You just roll the die and pick a horse. That's your decision making in this game. You just pick the horse. And I mean, you can get into some good tense scenarios where there's like 2 or 3 horses gunning for the finish line. It's like, come on, you gotta get going, roll the dice. And it does have that feeling, but it's still essentially a roll and move game for the most part. There's not really anything else here to vary things up apart from another deck where the horses are slightly geared towards, sprints or general plodding. But even then, I find that the horses tend to do better if they've got really high values on them. And that sounds obvious, but what I mean is you get some plodding ones where all the values are average. So no matter what you roll, they'll move 6 or 7 spaces. But then you get other horses where there's a couple of symbols where they'll move 1 or 2, but then they'll move 13 if they roll their particular symbol. The thing is, that's a lot easier to do. It's harder. I find that the horses that have those extreme levels on them win more often because all it takes is 1 or 2 occasions for them to move that 13, 14, 15 spaces and they're gonna win the race regardless. So it kind of means that everybody bets on those, and there are even some horses here where I think are just plain underpowered. There is no reason I would bet on this horse. It's just far too average. You want the extremes or you want reliability, but there are a few dud horses in here. But the other problem I've had with this game as we've been going through it is that it's too long. It is way too long. I mean, what does this game quote on the box? Does it even quote a time on here? It probably doesn't. I mean, seriously, publishers, can you start putting times on your games and stop lying about it? Honestly, I don't think it tells you. It doesn't even tell you on here, which is fail. But as far as I'm aware, the game is meant to be about 45 minutes or so. It's not meant to be a long game, maybe an hour tops, but this game can go on past an hour. I mean, you've got 3 rounds, and you may think, well, it's just roll and move. How long can it take? But people still roll the die and then look at all the horses and think, all right, well, which value will I move? How far will that horse go? Is it worth doing it? I mean, people still make decisions about which horse they move. So, and all the time, you're just waiting for it to get back to your turn, so you can just go, roll. Oh, I didn't get the symbol I wanted. All right, I'll move your 6. I'm done. And I can take my turn in 2 seconds. My family, on the other hand, don't take their turns in 2 seconds. They overthink things a lot, bless them. So, you know, I have to bear that in mind. So I find myself finding that this game just goes on too long. This really should be like a done and dusted 30-minute done. Like, no round should take more than 10 minutes in this game. This should be 30 minutes flat, no questions asked. Unfortunately, it is twice that easily if you're not playing with people who just realize, oh yeah, this is a roll and move game, I really shouldn't be taking it too seriously. So it's kind of like, I don't feel like bringing it out much, even with the family, but they want to play it every now and again, so that's why I want to give this to my parents, so that they can play it at home with my brother and my fiance now, because even she, wife, because I'm getting my brothers mixed up, who likes this game sort of as well, like doesn't mind it. She's not a gamer, but she sort of gravitated to this, so they can play it as a 3 or 4 player themselves. But then when I come home, I can join in every now and again. You know, as much as this would suit, I think, a cafe arrangement, I don't know if I want to take this away from the family. So I'm just going to give it to them. You know, I'll still get to play it every now and again, but I just can't justify its inclusion in the collection. I don't think I bring this game out for anybody but my family, actually, come to think about it. It pretty much just is, it's just them and no one else, so why should I keep it? Let them do it. Use up their storage space. So that is Reiner Kniziur's Winner's Circle, another Cull from the collection. That's it for me. Don't forget to check out the 5% discount code in the description for a discount on zatu.co.uk. Perhaps they've got stock of this and you fancy it, then go check it out, and if it is in stock, go buy it and save yourself some pennies. Failing that, there's plenty of other games out there. So take care, and remember, as always, no matter who wins the race, it's still only a game. Bye for now.